Why is hope so important? It's a big deal. Why do we try to make something out of nothing? These two passages come from very hopeless times. You have this passage from Isaiah while the nation of Israel is split and taken off into exile in two different countries. It's not a hopeful time. But somehow Isaiah was able to sit down and write these words that better days were coming. That there would be a time when people wouldn't fight, when war would be finished, when famine would be over, when there would be plenty for everyone to share in and be blessed. But as he's writing this and looking around him, he's not even in his own country. They've been taken away and hauled off to Babylon. And there doesn't seem to be any way to find hope. And then you get this gospel reading, and Jesus saying, in that day. He's talking about right after the passage where we find the disciples walking along. Right? They're looking at the temple and they're saying how beautiful it is. And he says, the day is coming soon when one stone will be left standing upon the other. The whole temple will be destroyed. There will be destruction everywhere. But don't lose heart, don't lose hope, for things will work out in the end. And so again, we're coming from a place without hope, or so it seems. Now, as they're writing this, as this passage from Matthew is being recorded, it's already happened, right? They are looking back into the past, knowing that the temple was already destroyed. It was probably about 15, 20 years before. They knew the destruction had already come. So it was even a worse position. It wasn't as if they're saying there's going to be bad times and then good times. They're already sitting in the midst of the bad times. The temple is already destroyed. Rome is ruling over Israel. And it seems like all hope is lost. Two men. One man started his music career in the 60s. Did a decent job, had a nice career. Not a whole lot of hits, but very eclectic, beautiful melodies. And he decided he wanted to pursue the spiritual path. So he left his money in the care of his manager, $5 million. Figured that's probably enough to retire on. Works for me, if anybody wants to contribute. And so he went off to a Buddhist monastery. Although he was Jewish, he went to become a Zen monk. And he stayed there for 5 years. And he came back to find out that his manager / former lover had spent all of his money. Had nothing left. Utterly, completely hopeless. Over here you have another man. He was playing quarterback up the road at Northwestern. He wasn't the best quarterback. I mean, like I said, he played for Northwestern. I love Northwestern, but I'm also realistic. But right about the time when the scouts were looking at folks to consider for the draft, he tore his ACL. And he was out. He was done. It seemed that his entire career was over. There would be no hope to play in the NFL. It seemed completely and utterly hopeless. Well, why would people hold on to hope in the face of such situations? Why bother? Why not just face reality and give up? We have this idea about hope when we attach them to dreams. Right? We always tell people, don't stop dreaming. And it's so true, especially we tell our youth this. Don't stop dreaming. Because when you let go of your dreams, you let go of everything. When your dreams disappear, so does your purpose for life, your zeal, your zest for living. And so when the dreams go up in flames and rise up to the sky and smoke, hope seems to go with it. So why do we bother going around telling people to be hopeful in bad situations? Why do we teach our young that hope and dreams are so important? Well, we know all of the things about life and how it's attached to meaning of life, but there are other things that we don't usually consider. Let's look, for example, at the physiological aspects of hope. And so psychologists have this thing they call PEA and NEA, right? Positive emotional effector and negative emotional And when you're in the face of stress, when something seems hopeless, the sympathetic nervous system activates, right? So the amygdala kicks into gear, you get this fight or flight response going, sends a message to the hypothalamus that says to send out adrenaline, right? So your heart starts beating faster, and your blood pressure goes up, and your main muscles get all the blood, while other parts of your body that don't seem to need it as much lose blood, including in your vision. Your peripheral vision goes from about 170 degrees, sometimes down to 30 degrees. Talk about tunnel vision. Your frontal cortex, where we process thought, where we think, where we imagine, gets shut down for the most part, so that the amygdala can keep pumping. And sometimes when we stay in that fight or flight state with high stress, cortisol starts getting released. Right? And we experience physical pain, especially in our joints. But it's just pumping through to keep our heart rate going up so we can fight our way or run our way out of whatever situation is going on. And it takes its toll. They say sometimes it can lead to cancer, heart disease, it makes your arteries fill with plaque. All of these bad things that happen when we're in high stress situations because we look at the situation the same way that we always have. When we're faced with something, we already have our neural network programmed, right? We look at this and we say, oh, this is happening, therefore this is going to happen, because it happens every doggone time. So it's hopeless. Give up. Accept it. It's going to happen. It's going to tick me off. I'm going to get stressed. I'm going to get pumped. I'm going to get angry. But it's going to happen, because that's how it happens every time. Well, what if we were able to take a step back and take a situation that seems to go a certain way every darn time and look at it differently? What if we were to start to unlearn the things that we have spent our life learning? Right? We simplify. We create these mnemonics. We create things to help us process faster, shortcuts in our thinking. Right? This goes to this, this goes to this. I don't have to think about it. It's automatic. But what if we were to pause and take a deep breath and consider, maybe this time things could be different. Maybe we could feel hope well up and grow within us. Maybe we could say, hey, you never know. Maybe something could be different here. And so we start to unlearn the things that we have taught ourselves that we think make us so wise, so knowledgeable, so witty. And we undo those things. We step back and we start viewing life differently. But what about those two guys that I mentioned? I wonder what they decided to do. I wonder if they just gave up. Well, the first guy said, gosh, ain't no spring chicken. I don't have to get back on the road and start performing again. So in 2009, he went back on tour. That year, he made $9.5 million. Good for you, Leonard Cohen. Produced the 3 best albums of his entire career after that hopeless situation, because he decided hopeless ain't for me. In fact, some of his music, even right now, is on the top 100 charts. Good stuff. What about the other guy? Well, he kept practicing. Even though his ACL was torn, he was practicing, and it just so happened that a certain coach had a bye week. And so he was home watching football, and he's watching the Northwestern game, even though he went to Michigan. They're like, dude, aren't you watching the Michigan game? He's like, no. Check out this guy at Northwestern. He's got poise, he's got control, he's got a heck of an arm. Oh, I want to watch this kid. So when it came time for the draft, he said, where is he? Did he get picked up anybody yet? He said, no, he tore his ACL at the end of the season, he's done. Well, what's he doing now? He's still training, still keeping up his arm strength, still doing everything that he can do without having to use his leg too much. So 250th in the draft, Gary Kubiak drafts Trevor Simeon, who is now the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. They're 7-3. Not too shabby. Good job, Trevor. Sometimes we can look at a situation, you can stare it right in the face and say, guess what? You got me last time, but not this time. Because I have hope. Hope that tells me it doesn't always have to go the same way, because you never know. You can shut that off. We're going to do a meditation. Actually, go ahead and run it. Go ahead and run it, Ken. We're going to do a meditation exercise now. So during Advent, I've committed to leading us through different spiritual exercises, spiritual disciplines, if you will. So I want to take that same situation, okay, the same theme. So if you all would humor me and close your eyes. Take a deep breath through your nose, out through the mouth. Got a deep breath in through the nose. Out through the mouth. And as you continue to breathe in that pattern, think of a situation in your life that keeps coming up. Something that always seems to be looming there. Something that always goes the same way. Maybe something that you're scared of. Maybe something that you've given up on. Stare right into the face of that situation. Take a step back from it. Feel your body start to relax. You thought of the situation the first time, your body tensed up. Feel your shoulders relaxing. As you continue breathing in deep through your nose, and out through your mouth. You can see that situation a little differently. Ask yourself why. Why does it have to go the same way that it always has? Why can't it be different this time? Notice how your perspective is changing. Maybe that which you have always seen as negative is actually something positive. Or at least there's hope. Get ready to open our eyes in just a moment. Take that feeling with you. Take that new awareness. The next time you face a situation, you won't feel anger or stress or hopelessness. Find hope. And peace. See, it's not just you Buddhists who meditate. All right.